All right, all right. Nice little melody takes you to another world, takes you to another. Mhm. Hello, this is Shad the Sumerian King. Today, we're going to be talking about my life growing up, my life of enduring a lot of pain, experiencing rituals, forced into rituals, um, having been around witches, wizards, been around giants, been around goblins, been around vampires, shapeshifters. I've seen mermaids. So these things that I'm saying to the audience might sound like a fairy tale or something made up, but these things do exist. These things do exist all around the world. Especially you find this more actively outside of the United States, outside of England, outside of the what we consider first world countries. But today I want to be able to talk about my early life and the things that I had to experience. So I want to start off by saying my family background, my biological mother, my aunt. I had two other aunts, so it's a total of four women, and all of them were witches, known witches. I had one of my aunts who performed a child sacrifice on her first child. I had another one too that, well, it says that she was sleeping on the bed with her baby and she rolled over and suffocated the baby. But it came to be said that that was a lie. It was just a story that was fabricated. She also sacrificed her child. Now, when it comes to me, I'm actually the first male, yes, the first male of that family that I come from. So, me being the firstborn male in the family, I was also um, brought to be a sacrifice, which I was sacrificed, but it wasn't a blood sacrifice. It was more of a sacrifice to demons, voodoo gods, and stuff like that as a young baby. So I remember what being born. My mother, she was one of those women that likes to sleep around with men, and most likely, it came to the point where it was she was involved with sleeping with married men. So that was her thing. She was sleeping with married men because it is said that married in their culture, married if you sleep, more women that sleep with married men, they have more advantages. They get the goodies, and they can be able to manipulate, the married man. But which I find very disgusting, and I find it very unrighteous. But who am I to say that, right? Because there's cultures that unrighteous is righteous and righteous is unrighteous. So being said, She had met this man. Uh, Last name is Narcisse, and he was a director of a telephone company, right? And he had visas. He was a guy that was that was okay. I'm not saying that he was rich, but he was okay. So while being said, he's married, but some guys, when they have money and they're in position, they tend to sleep outside their marriage, which is something that is a custom in a lot of cultures, which is I find it not manly, but it's just hey, I got the money, right? Get them young. So moving forward, she was messing with this married man, where she was just trying to see if she could get like a visa to go to Canada, you know, just to leave her current situation. And what happened is she was also involved with my biological father, and my biological father, he was a soccer player. He also played for the Olympics. He was an attacker. He also had little fame. I'm not saying he was like big fame, but people did know him, and also he was young, handsome. You know how it goes, and he was getting money. So in other words, he too was married. He too had a wife, and when you're in that football world, or soccer world, sorry about that. You're a celebrity. Hey, the world is yours, right? So what happened is he ended up sleeping with my biological mother, as at that time, her profession was whorism, and I don't care. I'm not holding any animosity. I'm real as they come. I talk, real. Me, I'm considered a person. I don't hold back. I mean, I say what I say. I don't say it with hate or animosity. I just say it the way it is. Those who like it, like it. Those who don't, go screw yourself. But this is the way I, verbalize things. So, being said, he ended up sleeping with her, and ended up getting her pregnant. And at that time, all he seen was just the vagina, young girl. He's a celebrity and she's all into him. So hey, why not, right? Take advantage of it. That's what most men do. So he took advantage of her, and she allowed him. But hey, you know. So what happened is it came about where he found out from a couple of friends and a couple of people that the women that he was sleeping with, they were called the light skinned girls in that time, and the people knew them as being witches because that's what they were. And yes, all four of them were witches, like sadistic witches, perform blood rituals, perform voodoo rituals, the whole nine. So he kind of like was spooked. He was kind of spooked when he found that out. So he was kind of like backing off, right? Because he, didn't want to deal with a woman that's in witchcraft. So that's what he was avoiding. And those type of people that's in witchcraft, they're evil. People who do witchcraft. Don't let nobody tell you witchcraft is good. Don't let nobody tell you that voodoo is good, or it's the ancestors, or this and this. All that is just lies. All right, these are demons that they're conjuring, spirits of Nephilims, witches, wizards activity. Don't listen to them. But being said, he kind of backed off slowly but surely, so he kind of cleared the scene. In modern days they say a hit and run, but he didn't kind of make it a hit and run. He kind of like made it, he kind of like made it like a hit, and let me stay for a moment and then run, because he didn't want to give off that he was running, because these types of women, when there's really no such thing as a hit and run like that, because if you hit it and then you try to run, they're gonna do witchcraft on you, and this is something of their culture, some demons. So being said, she got pregnant, by my biological father, and at that time she was also sleeping around with another married man, which is Narcisse. So being said, uh, Narcisse, he's like a lame. I'm just keeping it real. He's a lame. For a man to fall for the okie doke, and also I believe she also worked spells on him, but who knows, right? But just on a sucker level, he was a sucker. He, you know, like just sleep because you sleep with women, you put cologne and you know how to dress doesn't make you a man. But just because you sleeping around with men, that doesn't make you a man either. You know, it's just pleasure. So what happened is, she ended up getting pregnant uh, from my biological father, and being that she was pregnant, she said that she told Narcisse that he impregnated her. So Narcisse already automatically, felt that, oh shoot, wow, I got you pregnant, and he had three other boys at the same time, not the same time, but he had three boys. So that would make him. I would be like the fourth, right? No, right? Really, I would be like the third because I also had his wife was also pregnant. So my biological mother was pregnant for another guy's kid, which is my biological father, and Narcisse's wife was pregnant with her son. But at the same time, she made it seem that Narcisse got her pregnant. So in the end of the day, she was playing her game to get what she want. So moving forward, now it got to the point where I was born, and when I was born, um, you know, I was like the golden boy or the golden child in a way, right? Uh, but at the same time, I was like the a pawn. That's what I want to say. I don't want to say I was a golden child. I was a pawn in her game of chess, quote unquote. So what happened is Narcisse, he got a good heart. I mean, I grew up knowing that this man was my father. I mean, when he passed away, I cried my heart out because I felt the love, that he gave. So I'm not here to talk him bad. That man was a great father, knowing that you know he died thinking that I was his real child, and that's wrong. But this is what women do. This is what gold diggers do. This is what the survivalist type of women do. They don't care about energy. They don't care about anything. They're out to get what they want, and they're gonna sell their soul. They're gonna do everything that's unrighteous to get what they want, right? So now my biological father, which I didn't know till I was the age of, I would say, 13, 14. But I'll explain that down the long run. But I want to get the beginning first, and then we'll continue. So, being said, when I was born, her sister, which called me Relly, a sister, and another sister of hers, which is the first oldest one, came to her and told her that, look, no offense, but Narcisse can't have a child like this. This child is a beautiful child. He, he Narcisse is not a good looking man like that. You got this kid that you got is a handsome boy, and rumors was being spread, and then I guess the wife Esther, which also breastfeeded me at one point in my life. She breastfed me, and she took me in as one of her child, right? But it's still sad that things like that happen. So being said, because she loved Narcisse so much. So now being said, what happened is my mother, my biological mother, she what she did is, I guess, she did some type of voodoo ritual or whatever, I guess, to kind of blind his eyes, which is the Narcisse, which is my stepfather, or the one who I thought was my father, to blind his eyes to thinking that I'm his child. And yes, there is voodoo rituals, voodoo spells that are conducted. This is 100% facts. So now Narcisse, on the other hand, He also had doubts at one point because hey, that's like, for example, right? That's like I'm just I hate to use this as an example, but let's take a married couple, um, white, right? White couples, right? And now the wife gets pregnant by a black guy, and the day that the husband thinks that as of course she lies and says this is your child, but the truth has to come out when the baby's born, and when the baby gets born, he sees the baby black or mulatto, and he's like, hold on, what's going, you see, okay. So Narcisse, on the other hand, what he did, it's another uh, it's like another voodoo custom. It's kind of like the voodoo DNA test. When I say the voodoo DNA test, what happened is what they'll do is they'll like the father, if he has doubts of a child not being his. So what he'll do is he'll take a needle and he'll say a prayer, and then he'll take the needle and puncture his fingers, and then uh, insert the fingers, the bloody finger, in the baby's mouth so the baby can suck the blood. And it's supposed to, either if the baby dies from sucking the blood, then that's not his child. And if the baby do suck the blood and the baby doesn't die, then that means that's his child. But again, voodoo is something that is very demonic, very evil. There's voodoo that's more powerful than other voodoo. So my biological mother, Voodoo, as I told you, she was a witch, and also her sisters were witches. I mean, my grandmother was a grand witch that did 7 years in the ocean. Yeah, deep stuff. And so they all are in the dark side. So, being said, he, you know, did that, and people. And how did I know? People say, when I mean, I had servants who told me this. It was confirmed to from uncles, his brothers. They confirmed this stuff for me. So what happened is I didn't die, and I guess Narcisse went with the scam, because the voodoo kind of blinded him. He didn't know, so he always took me as one of his child, as one of his kids. And like I said, I'm not here to talk bad about that man. That man is a great man. I still, love that man because he was just, um, he makes you happy, man. He makes you happy. Like he's just even though he was a guy that was doing him, but at least he, when he comes through, he comes through. So moving forward, it got to the point where now Narcisse ended up uh, giving her a visa, or getting her a visa to go to Canada with me at that point, at that time, and then we went to Canada. But now there was a thing where she was also in contact with my biological father, and the story goes, my biological father told me that there was a day that you know she was, I guess she was walking or scrolling with me, and my biological father was with his firstborn son. And then my biological mother went to my biological father and said, "Look at this child." And my biological father immediately was like, "Man, he looks like my child." So he had a picture of me. He had a picture of me, and this is the picture that you guys see, where his grandmother, or I say, sorry, his mother took her thumb and put her thumb on my lips and said, "Tony, that's his name. This is your, this is your son. This is your child." So at that point, he was kind of hurt because he, of course, was frightened by my biological mother and her family because they're like big known witches that do evil. So he kind of like backed off. So I kind of like got to Canada. Then from Canada, went to New York, And then when I got there, my biological father, I mean, not my biological father, my Narcisse, my my would be father, uh, that's the one who got suckered, Narcisse, and Bias is my real father. So Tony is my real father, and Narcisse is okay. You get it. So what happened is, my biological mother, she used to abuse me. I used to get abused. I was abused as a baby, as a child. I used to just get abused for no reason, right? As you know, uh, nowadays these are the same type of women that they. It's like just different generations, but it's the same women, the same spirit, same entity, right? They take they take their aggression, they take their stress out on their child for no reason. So I was one of those abusive, getting abused child growing up, and it got to the point where I was getting abused so much that you know my Narcisse, he had came and took me away, and then we went to court for he went to court with my biological mother, so he could be able to get custody of me, and hand me over to my guardian, which she's also, in that Illuminati world. Beyonce's mother and father, I mean, came to see her one point in Miramar, Florida, to get a spell. I mean, I'm also one of those people too. I'm not a wizard or anything like that, but I know I'm something. And God, the Most High, he also put His hands on me, so I wouldn't be sacrificed. A lot of things wouldn't happen, but He also put me in certain rooms, certain places where I see, so I could show not only show but share my experience with the audience, with you guys. So let's move forward. So after we came to court, he handed me over to my guardian, right, Marie Gaston, which they call her Mummy Nun. She was kind of like a Mother Teresa type person, and when Narcisse gave me over to her, it's like, hey, I'm signing you. It's like, it's like, hey, it's an offering. So my biological mother, she's a witch, and her whole family's are witches, and I guess they had some type of conflict when it comes to magic. So my biological mother would call her a witch, right? My biological mother would call Gaston a witch, and Gaston. But it kind of like I was in the middle, and I was in the middle of a tug of war. And I won't lie to you, either if I was, in the battle of witches, grand wizards, or whatever, I kind of like they were also, informing me. I'm talking about the Gaston. They were also Mummy Nun. She was also informing me that my mother never liked me. She never loved me, and it's true. It's confirmed. Servant of ours said that one time my biological mother, she threw me in the trash when I was like 8 months, 8 months as a baby, and they came and got me. So all of this stuff, it happened. All of this stuff, it happened and occurred, and that also led to Narcisse brutally beating her up when she did that. So I guess that's what played out, with the custody battle, whatever. So not knowing that my biological mother had sacrificed me to demons, and also she put a spell on me, so my life could always be down. Like I call, like things could never go good for me. I mean, I experienced so much in my life because of this. So at one point, um, you know, I'm gonna go forward now. So I gave you that first half. Now I'm gonna move forward now. So now, growing up, I never was in a stable family. I was always like moving from house to house. So I was pretty messed up. I was pretty messed up, and I was dealing with a lot of trauma in my life. I used to suffer post traumatic stress disorder. I used to be bipolar. I used to, I don't want to say scared of people, but I didn't want to be around people because I used to always think, somebody's out to hurt me because I've always been hurt. So not knowing that I have a spell on me, and eventually, I kind of grew older a little bit, and I remember graduating middle school, and even before that, uh, the Gaston, mummy done now. She also, I told you, she's in the Illuminati, and she was also, and her husband was a Ogun Mason, which I also debunked him, and he was like shocked that I knew the spiritual world at that age. So I'm like a Cyclops. Yeah, I'm like the Cyclops. I'll burn through your layer and see who you really are. I still got that. Thank you, God. So now it got to the point where, um, you know, I also had a spell on me where, I got involved with family members, where it's like a whole bunch of demonic stuff was going on when I was a child. I was always sad. Like, it's like they were feeding on my soul, feeding on me, controlling me. So it's a battle of control. One side wants to control me in a certain way. The other side want to control me in a certain way. So it's like magic is being done on me, on these people. Magic and witchcraft is being done on the other. So technically, I was, yes, reptilians do exist. My mother's a reptilian, and her family's are reptilians. And where I was at too, they're reptilians, but I guess it's different tribes of reptilians. But that one where I was at, I guess they were trying to, have me go into the Illuminati. And the way you most of the time get into the Illuminati is when they send you to boarding school, Catholic school. That's where a lot of celebrities. If you look at their background, a lot of them, is from like, from these types of cults. So moving forward, I remember I was in the eighth grade and I just, completed my middle school. And when I completed my middle school, now what happened as I completed my middle school, excuse me, my I had got a phone call. I had got a phone call from my biological mother, where she on the court document said that she was entitled just like 1 month, and that's it, that she could see me, and then I have to go back. But this time she was plotting and kidnapping me, and at that time sending me to Haiti, where I told my guardian, like, look, I'm gonna go to Haiti, you know no, I'm gonna go to Boston. And then, they told me, like, I guess they seen it. They're like, yo, don't go, don't go, don't go. They talked to me. But, my biological mother threatened me, where she just had her daughter, which is my sister. And me having a sister, that was like meant the world to me, So, of course, I want to see my sister and be with my sister, which she used, because that's what she do. She's a user. Well, that's what witches do. They use the situations to get what they want. So I ended up going to Boston. Now she tried to force me to go to this boarding Catholic school, where around that time in Massachusetts, a lot of sexual child abuse, was going on in those types of Catholic schools. And me, I was out, like, I guess I always had like a rebellion spirit with me, and some people, I don't know, but I think I know it has to be from the Most High, because um, I was supposed to be dead a long time ago, right? I was supposed to get hit by a car. There's a lot of rituals that they did to me for me to get killed, but for some reason, God keeps me alive, and I pray to Him every day, and I say, "Thank you, God Most High, for keeping me alive." So just moving a little bit forward. So now I said, now I was supposed to go to the boarding school. I didn't go to boarding school. So what they did is they, like, you know what? She kidnapped me. She said that we're gonna go to Haiti just for 2 weeks and then we'll come back. But that's not what it was. She kidnapped me and left me there for like a good 4 years. And around that good 4 years, I was being physically tortured. I was usually beaten by her sister, which is another witch, by bats. I had to get on my knees, hold a brick on my head. If I dropped the brick, I get bruised. I used to get beat with bullwhips, beat with bats, to the point where my bones would, man. So I went through it. I went through it. I was forced into labor. So I used to cry. I used to cry. I used to cry. I used to cry. Um, they didn't feed me. I was only eating one plate of food a day as a child, and I have to work in hot sun. Excuse me. So I remember all of that, and just talking about it, just brings back, you know, it brings my mind in a different place. So not only that, I was introduced to voodoo with one of her sisters. She's like this witch that she'll have spirits jump on her, and she start like demonic stuff. So I've seen the sacrifices that they did, where they have this chief of police of Haiti. Well, now he's no longer a chief of police; he's the minister of defense of Haiti. Which, yeah, man, my story goes long, but it's not. I can't tell you everything all at once, but I'm just giving you the introduction. But time to time, if you see this picture on my YouTube, then know that it's gonna be stories of my life, my childhood, and my life. So moving forward, when I was in Haiti, like I said, I was getting sacrificed to demons, which I didn't even know. You know, they were teaching me things that you know I can't talk about. Um, I can't. It's just not right to even mention it. But they were teaching me things that is unrighteous. They were teaching me things that was evil. Um, wow. Yeah. So being said, being tortured and stuff like that. Now I got to the point where I was handed a shotgun. I was handed a shotgun. I was about, I want to say about 12 years old, 12, 13 years old. They gave me a shotgun around this time where they had a guy, a gardener, but he was a quote unquote thief. And there was, I guess, one night the gardener got up and he just jumped the wall, and they said that he was like a rapist, he was a thief, the whole nine. But that's what they say. But this man is working, so I don't know. I was young, but they give me the shotgun. My uncle gave me the shotgun, who's married to my aunt. I would say my uncle in law. So being said, they gave me the shotgun with no bullet, but they just wanted to see, because all the torture that they did, it's like they're grooming me into becoming some type of killer or a hitman. That's what they wanted me to be, or some type of grooming me into something wicked. And I remember that night where, I was a child, and, they told me to beat the guy up. I had to beat the guy up or else, right? That's what they held over me. But I remember I did beat the guy up. I was young and I started to cry because I told the guy, you know, and God hears me. I told the guy, I said, listen, I don't want to do this to you. They're making me do this to you. And if I don't do it to you, they're going to get me. So, after I was hitting him, and he had bread came out like out of his shirt. And when I seen the bread fall, like that kind of like psychologically messed me up. So I was like, hold on. And they like keep hitting him. But I said, hold on. I said, what happened? He's like, look, man, I was hungry. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. I know a place that sell bread, and I just went to go buy bread so I could eat. Trust me, what they're saying is accusations and stuff like that. And I'm a child now. Again, I'm a child. And when this happened, I started to cry. And I remember uh, my uncle, he wanted like trying to tell me to shoot. But mind you, there wasn't no bullet. But yes, I pulled the trigger, but there wasn't no bullet. So I guess they wanted to see if I got it in me. But when you're being tortured and psychologically abused and a whole bunch of nine, you could become some type of psycho or something. But I think back, as an older age, that's what they were doing. But it got to the point where they were taking me to places where around that time, and those were like the older days where I know that they were connected with people in the government, Illuminati, people in the government, doing drugs, airplanes, a whole bunch of sense nonsense that was going on. But I'm happy that I shared this experience so I could talk about it. Hey, I can talk about it. This is my life. Um, yeah. So let's move a little forward. So did I see? I mean, I seen a lot of demonic stuff in Haiti. Like I said, there's things that you see in the movies and they really exist. Like, whoa, like bikes, walking goats, walking on two legs, goats, people shapeshifting, zombies, Haitian zombies, working at night. Man, I got some stories. I got some stories. I got some stories. So, speaking of that, let me give you a voodoo encounter. But like I said, once you see these pictures, it's always good because I just want to be able to have a platform to express and explain to people about, you know, certain lifestyles, and these things are real. So I'll share one of the voodoo stories that I encountered. So I remember I at one night, it was like 11:30 p.m. At night, and it was a full moon, and I was hungry, and I remember they were selling these fried fish and bread where I was at, and so I told the servant that was there. I was like, "Listen, can we go get something to eat? I'm hungry, and let's just go get something to eat." And at that time, I had like, it wasn't a lot of money, but it was a few coins. So I went as I'm walking with her, and I finished buying the fish, and I didn't know that it was like midnight, right? And in Haiti, uh, there's certain places 6 p.m. when the sun goes down, everybody lock their doors, nobody comes out. There's places where it's 8, there's places where it's 10, but once it's like 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's where the demons come out. God, like real stuff. Like I'm telling you guys the truth. This is where demons come out. So as I'm walking and I look down this the street, like it was a long, like maybe I want to say about 8 blocks from where I was at, and the servant was there. So I'm happy that she seen it. But when I looked, I seen these people dressed in white, but the white is glowing like the moon, because it was also a full moon. So I guess the moonlight, you know, had like some type of uh, fluorescent light that was coming out their clothes. But I found out that this is zombies, real physical people, but they're just in zombified for situation. So I seen that they were working, they were working, they were working, they were working. What they were doing, from my eyes or what I seen, they were, I guess they were doing a garden. And then when I looked, and I didn't know the guy seen me, but he looked at me. I seen him, and I told the servant, I said, "What the hell is going on here? Why are these people working?" And she, shh, shh, don't talk. I said, "Why not to talk?" She said, "Around this time, when you see things, you don't say anything. Just keep it moving." But I already said something. And the next day, which was on a Thursday, the same guy came to see my demonic aunt. But I guess they were friends because I guess demons know demons, you know? So I was in the back, and she called me. And when she called me, I used to get scared because, I thought I was going to get beat by a bat or get bullwhipped for no reason, because when they get angry, they just take their frustration out on me. And I was like, man, I'm going to get another scar. Oh, here we go. So when I got to the front, I guess it wasn't that. It was the same guy that I seen Wednesday, or I would say the same Thursday because, midnight. So yeah. So what happened is he tells my aunt that I want to see your nephew, and then she goes. So I guess they were talking their demonic stuff, and then he said, "Listen, I want to talk to you." And he looks at me, and he gave me a handshake. When he gave me a handshake, he started to shake, and he said, "I see that you got a star in the middle of your head." Now I don't know what that means, but he said, I got a star in the middle of my head." and you're a big man. I don't know. I was like, how can I be a big man when I was just 13, 14? Like, he was like, yo, you're a big man. But I guess it was on a voodoo mystical tip. Then he goes and tells me that, did you see anything last night? And then my aunt, I guess she signaled me not to say nothing, and I said, nah, I didn't see anything. And he says, well, that's good. Because sometimes when you see things at night, you don't talk, and you did talk. I heard you, what you said, but I know your aunt. I guess the demonic, she outrank him. I know your aunt, and I can't do nothing to you. And plus, you got a star on your head, so I'm definitely not gonna. I can't do nothing to you. But I'm just letting you know in the future, you don't talk when you see something at night. So that was that. And I mean, I got some stories that I'm gonna be able to. I just want the world to listen. If you don't believe me with the voodoo stuff, then you out your mind. God is real. God exists. God sent angels to me to help me. And every time I look at this picture, you know, I kind of like just stare like, wow, look at the hell that you had to go through and the hell that you're still going through because they still. And I prayed. I know God is with me, but at the same time, these people still got their spells that they're working on me every day. But this is just one one of the stories that many more that I'll be expressing. I got to tell you guys about celebrities that I met. I got to tell you guys about the blood rituals that I attended, that I seen. Even though I didn't participate in it, but I guess they were trying to recruit me. Um, you know, the being sent to the chief of police, who's now the minister of defense of Haiti, where I was actually sent to his house. I guess they were trying to recruit me or trying to, get, I don't know, was taking my ass. I don't know what kind of ritual that they were doing, but it didn't go down. I guess he just was looking at me, and that's what it was. But me, if I have the power, I would, destroy every evil person that's involved with witchcraft and worshiping Satan. But who am I, right? I can't do none of that. All we're waiting for is, we're waiting for Yahshua, Jesus, Esau. We're waiting for him and the angels, so they can make war with the beast and his angels that are on this earth. And before I terminate, I just want to let you guys know, um, every family has maybe one or two reptilians in it or more. I mean, it's a blessing when you come from a family. If you come from a family of Christian or Muslims, things that believe in the Most High, that believes in righteous, right? And it's sad, it's unfortunate, and it's hard where those who come from witchcraft families, wizard families, and things like that, Illuminati, voodoo, all that, where you're being forced or groomed into some type of lifestyle that you can't. Because me, first and foremost, I ain't worshiping no image. F that. I'm not worshiping no image, and I'm definitely not lighting candles. And I did used to do it now. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not doing that because I was young. I was being told what to do. But now that I have this knowledge and wisdom, trust me, I'll go ahead and share with you guys everything. And that's the same way I like to say, I could tell you everything about celebrities, which demons they worship. I could tell you about, just by looking in your family, a picture or whatever, I could look and tell you who's who, right? So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it there. I just want you guys to like and subscribe and comment on anything. If you have any doubts, if you have any questions about the spiritual world, about the voodoo world, the Illuminati world, or anything like that, I'm always here to give you guys feedback, or if you guys have a question, I can actually be able to do a video answering, you know, something that you want to know. So I'm always here to share knowledge and to share wisdom. So I just want to let you guys know that I'll see you guys next time. Like and subscribe. Bye.